Wait, there's something very weak coming through.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Aaron Julian, and this is WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 102. Today we are revisiting Attack of the Clones that came out in May 16th, 2002. Joining me today is the incomparable, the wonderful, the unexplainable, Mr. Todd Hoffman.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere. I can't wait to discuss this movie.
Of course you'd say that. And missing from the lineup today is Miss Heather Allred. She'll be trying to join us momentarily, but in the meantime, she's hit the escape pod. She's adrift in space. Things are not good for her or her computer. So
yeah. We're trying to grab the tractor beam. We're trying to grab her with the tractor beam. And I don't know. We're missing every time.
We're working on it. So. Yeah. No promises. How are you? So, in the meantime, you can check us out on social media, WSTR Media, all one word, all lowercase. You can email us at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. Leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. You can catch our entire back catalog of episodes over at our new and improved URL, podcast.wstrmedia.com. Again, change your bookmarks because it is now podcast.wstrmedia.com. Reason we changed that had to do with some technical difficulties that we had with our dear friends Google domains and getting in contact with us. So
our domains were crossed, man. They were crossed. The domains were crossed.
They crossed the beams. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So, podcast.wstrmedia.com. And now you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss our next live stream. You can find us at youtube.com. Search for WSTR Media. As you know, all one word, all lowercase. So, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. That's right, our dear good old friends there. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial over at audibletrial.com/WSTR. Guess what? There's over 425,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, for your Android, for your Kindle, or your MP3 player. One I would recommend is A Christmas Story, originally written by Charles Dickens, and they have a version where it is narrated by none other than Tim Curry.
What?
So
that's amazing.
Getting into that Christmas spirit, it's quite the way to do that. So once again, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/WSTR. Again, that's audibletrial.com/WSTR. We are also brought to you today by our merch store over at Teespring. But now we've got a new and improved URL that will take you right there. It's easy to remember. Store.wstrmedia.com. That's right. No more slashing.
No more slashes, backslashes. Right.
Yeah. Yep. Store.wstrmedia.com. Ain't that nice, Todd?
It's so nice, Aaron.
Yeah. We've got mugs, we've got stickers, t-shirts, hoodies, leggings, and now socks. That's right, socks. You can recreate that scene from Risky Business and slide across your wood floor and support your local favorite homegrown, locally sourced, what is it?
Organically grown.
Organic, that's the one. Podcast. WSTR.
Podcast.
So, all that and more over at store.wstrmedia.com. So, Todd, what have we got coming up for us in the news? Keep it spoiler free.
It was a little light this week for Star Wars, but Toxicity, The Future, and 13 Pounds. So that'll be later on in our news of the week.
Right on. And in the meantime, we've got some intercepted Imperial transmissions.
Senator! Intercepted Imperial transmission, Mom.
What?
All right. So If you listen to our 100th episode, you'll know that for a while we had our mailbox email address open and our voicemail going, and what we didn't realize is it was broken. There's some shenanigans going over at Google domains.
Yeah, we lost. Yeah, Aaron, you got really into the details, and I think we lost everybody. Like 5 minutes through. But that's okay. That's all good.
Some sabotage, some subterfuge, but
right.
We reached out again and we said, hey, if you sent some kind words our way, or any words really, we'll take them, and people send them again. So this is just a little reflection from you guys about our 100th episode. So first up on the docket today, we've got from Instagram. On Instagram, her tag is Carla Marie GIAC, otherwise known as Carla Gia Cologne. She was our guest interview on episode 96. So Carla, this is what she has to say. She says, "Hello, Star Wars family. Congratulations on your 100th episode. Hopefully this email transmission is not lost or intercepted this time around." Well, we've got it. Although I'm relatively new as a listener, I just want to commend you all for the work you put into this podcast every week. You guys always have fun and interesting topics that keep me going on the way to work every Wednesday morning. Also, I can't thank you enough for having me as a guest a few weeks back for episode 96. Well, thank you for coming. It was so much fun talking with Aaron and Heather. Todd, we missed you. And I would love to come on again in the future. Keep up the amazing work, guys, and I look forward to meeting in person at Celebration. May the Force be with you. Well, Carla, that is just...
Well said.
It's humbling, so thank you very much.
Well, and you don't need a lot of qualifications to come on the show. You like Star Wars, you want to be on the show, we can get you on. That's what Carla was brave. She took the first step. She's like, you guys are awesome. Can I be on the show? I'm like, yeah, come on board. So...
yeah, we love having guests. It's
exactly.
It's a hospitable, family-friendly podcast. So
that's right. That's right.
Next up, we've got what do we have?
Okay, this is 94 Docking Bay. Not to confuse with Brandon with Docking Bay 94. So this is Kevin, and he's 94 Docking Bay on Instagram, and he said, "Hello, all. This is Kevin from Columbiana, Ohio." I had to look that up. I did not even know. I know Columbus, but there's this Columbiana, if I'm saying that right. Not quite the farthest from the bright center of the universe, but close. I look forward to your podcasts every week. They are very enjoyable. Keep up the good work. As an Ewok might say, yub nub, sent from Dagobah. There you go. Thanks, Kevin, so much for that. He's pretty active on the Instagram, and love talking to him. So appreciate the support. And Columbiana. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. I'm not really good with the words.
Columbiana, Ohio.
But, it's there. It's a city. He lives there. But like you said, it's not the farthest from the bright center of the universe, but it's pretty close. So thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have our good friends Danny and Kristen from Kessel Run Weekly. They sent us a voicemail, but in the email it says, "We are so excited for y'all and can't wait to hang out at Celebration." So, Aaron, can you roll the clip?
Hey everyone, this is Danny
and Kristen
from Kessel Run Weekly, and we want to congratulate Todd, Aaron, and Heather on your 100th episode.
Woo!
We're so excited for you guys. It's a cool milestone, and we're really excited for what's ahead for you guys.
Yes, most definitely. Can't wait to tune in and listen to many, many more, and hopefully get y'all onto our episodes or be on y'all's episodes, whichever works.
Of course. We're so thankful to have you guys as our friends. You are awesome, and thank you for everything that you bring to the Star Wars fandom, all the joy and happiness that you bring with each episode.
And congrats again, you guys. Y'all are awesome.
We love you guys.
Yes, we do.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.
May the Force be with you as well. That was really encouraging to hear. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we love you guys. Can't wait to meet you guys in person at Celebration. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, appreciate your support. Appreciate you guys coming on their show. And we've been on their show a couple times. So always fun to have a fellow podcast, friends. So.
Yep. And then we've got one more voicemail for you. This is from our dear friend Josh. He called in and left us the following message.
Congratulations to my friends at WSTR Media for their 100th episode. What do you think of WSTR, R2? My thoughts exactly. My favorite Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.
Thank you, Josh. That was awesome.
Thanks, Josh. He had his very NPR kind of voice going on there. That was awesome.
He does. I think he's part of the Star Wars RPG group that we're part of, and he's I think he did it from his car, so that's probably why.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's we've got some more. This time we did a little roundup of our iTunes reviews and want to read them out for you. So first one is a bit of an interesting one. This is from A.E. Welling. Left this in November. Goes like this. And
well, read the title. You got to read the title. Read the title.
Yeah, it's a bit interestingly written. So I'm going to do a bit of a dramatic interpretation of it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Ewans love Star Wars, but 2-star review.
Yeah.
I listened to a few shows these folks done. Yeah, Star Wars is for everyone. These folks trying too hard, but ends up coming across as mainstream casual fans. Maybe it's a show for you, ain't for me. That sounds written. I'm not making this up.
No, you're not. You're not. Hey, we asked for real feedback, and there you go.
Yep. Good, bad, and the ugly.
I guess we're too mainstream, bro.
I'll let you decide which one that is. Yep. But hey, we appreciate the feedback, and I mean, we've talked about this before, but we want to try to strike a balance between getting really deep into specific topics, going deep into the nerd vault, as it were. But we also do want to be accessible to people who are maybe not familiar with Star Wars or are just getting into it now with the new releases.
Right.
The sequel trilogy. And so
it's all about balance, Aaron's just about got to balance it out, so.
You gotta have a balance to the Force. So if it's not for you, that's fine. But there's a lot of Star Wars podcasts out there. So I'm sure you'll find one that fits exactly what you're looking for. Yeah. But exactly. Hey, thanks for giving us a shot, and thanks for caring enough to leave a review.
That's right. We'll take them all. 2-star, 1-star, 5-star, Here's a couple other ones that we're going to round out real quick. This one's titled The Best, 5-star. Can't beat this podcast. I love how they enjoy everything Star Wars and are sensible about their approach. Short and sweet to the point. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's from Manderley. Am I saying that right? Manderley? Yeah.
Looks like it.
So there you go. All right. And
then
we got one more right here.
Yep. Lastly, this is from Bobby Youngstown. 5-star review entitled Can't Say Enough. This has been my go-to Star Wars podcast for some time. It's just plain fun. A definite must-listen for any Star Wars fan. Well, thank you, Bobby. We try to keep it fun here. Try to keep it upbeat. Keep it light. And just like a warm, crackling fire in a fireplace. With family and friends gathered around. Maybe that's a bit too cheesy. Right. I don't know. It's Christmas season.
It's Christmassy. Yeah, it's Christmassy. But yeah, seriously, thank you for those reviews. We really, really want those reviews. So if you can get on iTunes and type it up, even if it's bad, we don't care. We want to hear the opinions, and we definitely strive for the best. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. We want to, the more you review, the more it gets up in the algorithms of iTunes, and that would help us out tremendously. All right, Aaron, should we go to our main topic?
And now for our feature presentation.
There you go. He's good.
What are we talking about today, Todd? I've forgotten already.
All right, so it's episode 102, and Attack of the Clones came out way back in May 16th of 2002. So if you're not familiar with this film, it was 10 years after the initial meeting of Anakin Skywalker shares a forbidden romance with Padme Amidala, while Obi-Wan Kenobi investigates an assassination attempt on the senator and discovers a secret clone army crafted for the Jedi. That's straight from the IMDb read. So Attack of the Clones grossed like 302 mil over a lifetime, 310.
That's all right.
It was the longest Star Wars film at 2 hours and 12 minutes until The Last Jedi. So it had that going for a little bit. And the production budget was 115 mil. So it was a pretty decent film.
That's a pretty good haul.
It's a pretty good haul for 2002.
$185 million profit. Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, exactly. Opening weekend was 80
that's just
million.
domestic though. Worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide, it made
like
650 million.
Yes.
Just all the money.
And then domestic, the domestic opening weekend was 80 mil. So that's not too shabby at all. And it was out. It was out for a bunch. It was out till November of that year. So there you go. We got a lot of different locations and new planets. So one of them was, Naboo we saw in episode 1, but so they went back to Spain and Italy. They did a couple shots there. And then what was new about Attack of the Clones is that Fox Studios opened up a whole new movie studio in Australia. And Attack of the Clones was like actually the first movie to use it. Like the paint was just drying and they moved into the studio. So as you know, historically, they film in the UK and at the Elstree Studios, but they did film some stuff there, but most of it was filmed in Australia, which is a first for Star Wars. They went back to Tatooine, to Tunisia in Africa, so they shot some stuff there for the Tatooine stuff. But mostly Australia and then a little bit of UK stuff for some pickups and that kind of thing. So, So, Aaron, why don't we kind of just start with what were your overall impressions of Attack of the Clones now that we're coming back to it in 2018?
Well, what we had heard about the clones at this point was just basically a throwaway line in A New Hope, where it's like, you served with my father in the Clone Wars, and it was just in everybody's imagination then, like, what was that about? What could have gone on then?
Right.
And now we get like a full look into it where it's kind of C-SPAN in space, but it's like the negotiations are over. This is full on warfare. So, and this is kind of when it's a strange movie because it's kind of a mix of different genres where it's part like detective movie with Obi-Wan's arc where he's investigating the assassination, and then it's kind of a romance movie, and then it's kind of a war movie. It's kind of like genre salad. So
toss a couple in.
Yeah, just put some dressing on that. But it's just weird because it doesn't have that much of the movie where it's the clones fighting, but they're still a central part of the plot. And I think the main thing that really stands out with this movie is that we see more than the Phantom Menace, the Jedi kind of at their full strength, especially towards the end where we see hundreds and hundreds of lightsabers lighting up. And I think that's kind of where the unique strength of it is that now we're finally seeing like what the Jedi are all about when they're called into action and kind of what their role is, at least in this point in history. So, so then we go from there, and we also finally see Anakin at his full strength and what he looks like, but also kind of Obi-Wan at his full strength, and the we really start to get that relationship between them where it's the mentor and Padawan. And and we also see like the seeds of the dark side being planted in Anakin, and how basically his journey down that path. So there's a lot going on in this movie, quite a lot,
a lot.
Pretty important for the lore. So Tom, do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say, like, from a ranking perspective, like, overall, like, a lot of people this is the one that they hate the most.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Phantom Menace?
Over Phantom Menace. Like, for me, Phantom Menace is at the bottom of that pile of what we've seen so far. That doesn't make sense to me. A lot of people, and I really think it's really the romance part, you know? That it's that part and the dialogue. This one is just... It's pretty bad, dude. Yeah. It's very bad. And I think if you didn't know this one, George didn't finish the script until like a week before they went to film.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they I don't know if anyone got to read it. I don't think they really got a lot of time to kind of massage that material because he was still working on it until, about to ready to film, so there's not. It's
like pulling a cake out of the oven and it's like still doughy.
Yeah, it's like, it's right here. Right here. Got to put the frosting on,
it's like, dripping through your fingers.
Yeah, I think that's what people get hung up on the most is the dialogue and the romance part. And like you said, there really is. It's like the first arc is kind of the investigation of her assassination attempt with this Nord thing. And then you have the romance in the middle. And then you have this war piece at the end. Finally get to see the clones in action. So it kind of has a lot going on.
Right.
And with the prequels, George, he went full blown on a lot of CGI, a lot of green screen. And, after now in 2018, revisiting it, it's like, ugh, it's some of it's kind of hard to digest, I think,
hasn't aged all that well.
No. Yeah. But Aaron, so what are some of let's talk about your favorite parts first. Let's talk about your favorite parts. So what are some of your favorite parts of Attack of the Clones?
Well, you mentioned that a lot of people found the romance, the love story kind of off-putting, and I'd probably agree. But I found the Obi-Wan arc of the story, where he's investigating this clone army and he's chasing after bounty hunters and, he goes to Camino and then to the asteroid field and that whole fight. And then Geonosis is like, that's probably the most interesting part of the movie for me. More so than the actual, just what they're adding to the lore with the clones and Boba and Jango and the whole fight on Geonosis, and then we get the Death Star plans in there too. It's that part of it was probably the most compelling for me as far as keeping me interested and keeping me engaged in the movie. So there's that, like I've mentioned before, just all the additions to the lore that we have with new settings and new characters and what that means, and a lot of it just ties together where every bit of added, like a new setting or new character, it directly feeds into everything that I think is kind of missing in the sequels that we've been getting. Is that a lot of the times it feels like we get a new place and it doesn't feel like it's cohesive with the rest of the story in a way where it's like it's firmly cemented and that it matters and that it ties into the rest of the story. A lot of times it just feels like it's a pit stop on the way to someplace better in the newer films. But in Attack of the Clones, it's like something significant and meaningful happens at each location. So it doesn't feel like a sideshow attraction, if that makes sense. Right.
And you breathe in it a little bit. I feel like sometimes now in the movies, you it's so awesome and they put so much detail in it, but you only get to see it for 15 seconds. It's like, can I see a little bit more of this?
Rogue One was really bad at that. Like whatever planet that was that had the Imperial work camp in it. Like,
oh, Wambani. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can name it, but it's like, how's a guy like me supposed to remember all that? And we spend like 2 minutes there, you know?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't, it might as well have been any other planet is my point. But in Attack of the Clones, like each setting is distinct, and even Tatooine, we see new sides of it, especially with the Sand People camp. So it's like that's a familiar place, but we see it in a new way or a new side of it that feels new.
Yeah, exactly. So, any other favorite parts for you?
Trying to think over it, but it is interesting to see kind of more of the workings of the Sith as far as Count Dooku and Palpatine are concerned, and their whole arrangement. And we finally see, like, I forget who said this. Might have been George Lucas himself, but might
have been the man himself. Who knows?
Yeah, it might have been himself. But in the prequels, in the villains, we see like different shades of what Anakin is going to become as Darth Vader.
Yes.
Where Maul, we see that's kind of like this kind of discipline and power and like pure aggression. And in Grievous, we see kind of this man turning into a machine.
Iron
aspect
Lung
of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And with Count Dooku, we kind of get like this almost like diplomatic and like the leader that Darth Vader is going to become.
Yeah. And he's a fallen Jedi, you know.
That too. It's like Count Dooku has turned away from the Jedi Order and has been seduced by the dark side already. So we've got that, and I really do appreciate that.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
I mean, he also it's Sir Christopher Lee. Like, you can't do any better than that. So
right, and at this time too, we were getting a double dose because Lord of the Rings was going around at the same time, and like this. You can't beat this. You know, you got Dooku and then you got Saruman. It's like, dude, this is amazing. This is awesome. But yeah, I would say for me, as far as the favorite moments for me, I mean, you got, like you said, you kind of get to breathe in the Coruscant. You get to see Coruscant. You get to see the lower levels. I love the bar scene. That's so much fun. I really feel like that's a great piece. I really love the Obi-Wan Jango Fett fight. It's hand to hand. It's in the rain. I really love how that looks. And it's more physical, which is great. And we get a nice little nod to our good friend Laurie Good with the little Jango Fett going to the ship and it gets his head bumped. I love that little part. And then the like you mentioned this too, the space battle and the asteroid field is fantastic. Ben Burt with the seismic charge sound is one of my favorite parts in the prequels. A fun little fact, the fact that Obi-Wan hid in the asteroid is where Boba Fett picked that up to use against Han in Empire Strikes Back. So
nice little touch
I
there.
Think, it's kind of like foreshadowing to what you already saw in Empire Strikes Back. And seeing Yoda I know in the theater, like seeing Yoda for the first time with the lightsaber was pretty cool. Although I don't like how the fight. I don't like how he's like bouncing back and forth and all that stuff, but I do like him just wielding the lightsaber first time was like an epic moment in the theater, you know? Yeah. I was just going to say, I really appreciated that physicality. And also I was going to say my last kind of favorite part was, it was Yoda yielding the lightsaber for the first time. I think that was a big pop in the movies, but I don't know if I really appreciated him bouncing around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that it's plausible that because of Obi-Wan kind of like piggybacking on the back of the asteroid and fooling Jango, then Boba learned from that and wasn't quite so fooled when Han tried to pull the same thing.
Yes.
So that's a neat little connection with the original trilogy. So
right, exactly.
Why don't we go over how we ranked Attack of the Clones against the other films in the franchise way back in episode 64. So let's see. Todd, you had in highest order to lowest order, you had The Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, A New Hope, Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, The Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones, just above The Phantom Menace. So all the way down at the bottom. What's going on with that, man?
It's low because I don't. It's Star Wars, but I just don't find it cohesive enough in the whole overarching thing of just how it feels. I just feel like it's not all there, and there's the other thing is like it's just there's no real clone troopers. They're all CGI, which is just it's bad.
It's a shame.
How about you? Yeah, how about you, man?
Well, I favored A New Hope first, then Empire Strikes Back, then The Last Jedi, then Revenge of the Sith, then Rogue One, then The Force Awakens, then Return of the Jedi, then Attack of the Clones, then The Phantom Menace. So I'm complicit in that with you. We didn't really touch on it too much yet, but there were kind of a lot of problems with this movie where it definitely doesn't feel as coherent and straightforward as not even straightforward, but just coherent or cohesive as a lot of the other films do. And I don't know if it's a casting thing or a directing thing. Yeah. But there's just the romance is not really believable between Anakin and Padme, and or even just I don't know if it's how much time they spent on it, or I don't really know how to articulate just exactly what's wrong with it, but it just doesn't work. And so you've got that. There's the political C-SPAN stuff, which you kind of need in order to have a war in the first place. But, they could have just started off knee deep into it and had a lot of more Clone Wars action, which I guess is what we ended up getting with the Clone Wars cartoon series. And because of that, we get a lot more action than perhaps what we should have gotten within the movie.
Right.
That said, that battle scene on Geonosis, especially like when it goes out into that larger scale, like combined arms warfare with those droids with like the two hula hoops.
The Hailfire droids. Yeah.
Like those are pretty sweet. The spider droids.
Yes.
Those just like huge, big, like Zeppelin-like balls that, they shoot down.
They're part of the droid control ship that basically are part of that overall ring that dropped down.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And so they're supposed to go back up and then connect. Again, that's what we saw in the blockade in, Phantom Menace. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when they crashed and you see the dust kind of pile in like that. I just love that shot.
Then the blasters like light it all up.
Yeah, it's like pew pew pew. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. But yeah, there's just
What are some of your? No, go ahead.
It just there's just a lot of parts that don't quite work in the story, and just it's really the story and the dialogue that are pretty weak, and you actually kind of need that to be pretty strong for it to be a good movie. So it's like there's like a lot of good pieces, but there's not like a spine connecting them all, you know?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the romance part. Is it because of the dialogue? Is it because of the acting? What do you think? What do you think the problem is there?
Because Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, like, they're good actors. If you see them in other movies, like, they do a very good job. Yeah. So I don't know if it's the directing or the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue, it doesn't sound like what two people in love would actually say, or even like what two human beings would actually say. It sounds like a storybook version of love rather than
real love.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, like, there's so many examples of good romance in movies that surely we could have come up with something better. But
I mean, I there's two things I really want to get out. Is one of them, like you said, is like maybe if he protected her in a way that was, you actually saw that, and like that bodyguard kind of mentality, like, oh, he's gallant and, you know, and good looking, and he helped me in these kind of situations a little bit more than I just feel like it wasn't there. You know, like you could have seen like a couple more acts of like kindness or something, because he kind of comes off creepy, you know.
He does. But he's a major creep.
Yeah, but I think that's part of what he's trying to get. He doesn't know how to act around her because he's been obsessing with her since she left Tatooine, you know, or he left Tatooine, you know, way back in Phantom Menace. And I feel like I always felt like he was using a force to woo her.
Yeah.
Like, because he's creepy. He's a creep.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's like almost,
I think consider
he's
that
almost
angle,
willing it. You know what I'm saying? He wants it so bad. Like, I feel like, you know, almost like a pheromone thing. Like, I want you to like me, so I'm going to push that on you, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, I just see, you know, like a desperate guy, like, you're the one. And even though you don't see me as the one, I want you to be the one, and I'm going to make that happen.
Oh,
you know?
No.
And so when she kind of opens up at Geonosis when they're captured at the battle arena, it's just like, it didn't feel right. It felt like, you know what I'm saying? It just didn't feel right. Like, I feel like it's a tender moment, and obviously John Williams kills it on Across the Stars.
Yes.
But it just feels weird, you know.
Great
the
music
whole Naboo
can't
thing.
make up for terrible dialogue.
Well, and the Naboo thing with the big flea tick cow thing, it's just it's just bad. It's just bad.
The
It's
cringe
bad
is too
CGI.
strong.
Yeah, it's just bad CGI of him riding the cow, and just like, oh man, dude, can't do it.
Nope.
But I think one of my other things I do like, before we get into all the things we hate, I really do like Dooku. I think, and the thing is like Dooku, he's mentioned at the beginning of the film, but we don't see him till almost Act 3. You know?
Yeah.
We don't. It's kind of interesting. Like, as far as like being a main villain, you don't really see him until like when he's interrogating Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And
if
what
we
I
got
like
like
about
a
that
taste
dialogue,
of him, like in the first act, maybe that would have been better.
Yeah.
Like maybe Obi-Wan drops a hint about, you know, he who must not be named, you know, the guy who left the Jedi Order like 5 minutes ago, you know?
Right. Yeah. But I really do like Dooku in this film. I just love how he comes across. And he's a good villain because it's almost like he has a cause, and he kind of sees both sides of it. And the fact that the other cool thing is he literally tells Obi-Wan the truth.
Yeah, he doesn't lie to him.
He doesn't lie to him. And I kind of like that because it's weird. You know, the prequels are weird because you kind of know the ending, but the characters don't know the ending. And so some of the parts are, for the older fans, you're like, all right, know the ending, you know, so, but.
Right.
But yeah, I really do like Dooku. I really think he's pretty cool villain and that kind of thing. So, okay, let's go. What other things didn't work for you in Attack of the Clones, Aaron?
I mean, we kind of covered them all already. I don't know how.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't want to beat it to death here, so maybe we can move on to some fun facts about Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we kind of talked about this already with the Geonosian, you know, asteroid hiding. That's a trick.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah, that's a cool trick. We also talked about the stormtrooper accidentally banging his head, and that's also a little nod to A New Hope. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a fun fact. The Senate votes to give Supreme Chancellor sweeping emergency powers to go to war against the separatist forces is the same ploy Adolf Hitler uses to gain similar dictatorial power in the mid-1930s for Germany.
The more you know.
I mean, again, we know, you know, how he frames that. You know, A New Hope, Empire, that's, you know, World War II kind of vibe, Nazi vibe. And Attack of Clones is really the Clone Wars in itself is Lucas's version of Vietnam. You know, just like a lot going on. Don't know we're in this fight, but this is why we're there. And that's where the Clone Wars comes from. Here's a fun little thing. Obviously, there was a lot of animosity for Jar Jar Binks in Episode 1. And the working title for the movie for Episode 2 was Jar Jar's Big Adventure. Little play on Pee-wee.
That's pretty good.
Here, dude, I found when I was researching this, I thought this was kind of interesting. Attack of the Clones is the only Star Wars film that was not the top grossing film of the year in North America. It placed third after Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
Man, third place.
You thought Solo was bad, guys.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, Rogue One and Attack of the Clones are the only Star Wars movies where the camera shot tilts up after the opening scroll of the start scene. All other Star Wars movies, the camera shot tilts down.
Then next one is Aayla Secura, was not created by George Lucas. Aayla Secura first appeared in the 19th issue of Dark Horse Comics' Star Wars Republic series, part 1 of Star Wars Twilight. Lucas was so impressed with the character that he decided to have her in the film.
Yes, she's the blue Twi'lek.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with who
Got the two lightsabers, blue and green.
Yes.
Next, although Count Dooku is the main villain and is mentioned in the opening crawl, he does not make his first appearance until 1 hour and 16 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
That's a long time to wait.
It is, yeah.
Next, we've got the final shot of Padme and Anakin looking out on the lake in Naboo with R2, D2, and C-3PO to their right is a reproduction of the final shot of Empire Strikes Back, where Luke and Leia are looking out into space from the ship with R2, D2, and C-3PO to their right.
Yes.
So if it looks familiar, you're not mistaken.
Yeah, if you're into the ring theory too, like the way these two films, they kind of end the same, but Attack of the Clones starts in the clouds and goes down, and Empire Strikes Back, has the big war thing at the beginning and ends up in the clouds at the end of the film. So if you're in the ring theory, they're kind of opposite a little bit. So,
yep. Then fun fact that I certainly appreciate: the Clone Troopers rifle design is based on the German MG-42 machine gun. So that is a.
Nice.
Have you ever seen a World War II movie? You have seen the MG42. So we can't show you
It's
now.
pretty
but
common.
Google it, and you'll make the connection.
Is it pretty common rifle?
For World War II, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much every German platoon had several of them.
Oh, okay, cool. In Star Wars world, that's a DC-15. So
There you go. Unlock that
Just in
in
case.
Battlefront.
yeah.
Okay, so the large Iowa creature, briefly seen
Yes.
flying out of the waves of Camino, was originally designed by Ralph McQuarrie for Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
In that film,
Good old
the
Ralph.
air whale would have been seen on Bespin. Ooh. Subsequently, it was proposed as desert mounts for the Sarlacc scene in Return of the Jedi, and then to be used by the Gungan in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So
But it finally makes it an Attack of Clones.
he was persistent. He kept pushing to use the air whale, and they're like, "Fine, we'll use it for one shot. Well, are you happy?"
Right. Here's another fun fact. Not Obi-Wan. In Solo, at the end of the film, when they meet up with Lando again, he's wearing kind of like a Hawaiian shirt, and it has the air whales from Ralph McQuarrie on the shirt. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, have to check that out. Okay. Lucas, always pushing the envelope. And so this is the first one he shot on digital video using new 24-frame high-definition progressive scan cameras developed by Sony and Panavision. The cameras work flawlessly, even in temperatures of 125 degrees back in Tunisia in the old desert heat.
There you go. Little sand
and then
can't
here we
stop
go.
a digital camera.
Yeah, there you go. And finally, we kind of talked about the awkward, forbidden love affair between Anakin and Padme was strongly influenced by the forbidden love affair between Sir Lancelot and Queen Genevieve.
Guinevere?
Guinevere, jeez. In the legend of King Arthur, Anakin, a Jedi Knight, falls in love with Padme, a former queen of Naboo, which is forbidden for a Jedi Knight to fall in love. In the legend of King Arthur, Sir Lancelot, a knight of the Round Table, has forbidden love affair with the queen, wife of King Arthur. So again, this Lucas uses these themes and other little quips from other movies to influence Star Wars, and I think it's just his appreciation of film, his appreciation of understanding storytelling. So again, I'm all for this Jedi Knight, like Anakin falling in love, but this just the way I think it was executed, it didn't come off as genuine in the film,
Right.
Yeah.
So
I was also going to say, what's that?
That's a darn shame.
It's a darn shame. When he's infiltrating the, of course I'm going to say this, but then I don't know the Western, but when he's Anakin's kind of going to the Tusken Raider camp, that's a straight up, like almost
Searchers.
beat for beat. Yeah. For Searchers. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great Western, by the way. But they kind of ripped off a few shots from the Searchers. But you know what? Why not? It's a great movie.
Why not? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. No. I mean, that again. I feel like Lucas did that in A New Hope with Hidden Fortress and how he kind of used those plot points to drive his story. So I'm all for it. I think it's cool when you take different parts of films that you enjoy and kind of make it your own in the Star Wars realm. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
It's not my favorite film. It's just not. It's just not. But
it's like pistachio ice cream where it's like,
yeah.
If it's in the sundae, you'll eat it, but you're not going to pick it out.
I would, I'm going to bring up my son, Trent. He's 5. He loves the battle arena scene. He loves the accolade, the reek, and the Nexu, and he loves that. And so this one's on heavy rotation because he loves kind of that thing. And for me, that's also kind of knocked back to the old monster movies and like Ben-Hur and all those kind of stuff. And I do like that scene as well. But, you know, I'm going to go back to more of a personal thing where it's like, you know, I talked about this before. I didn't get to talk to you guys about Phantom Menace, but I brought this up in the 100th episode. You know, waiting in line with the boys. Love doing that. For Attack of Clones, we made it. We went, we got there at 10 o'clock in the morning at the theater and went from 10 to midnight, just hanging out and meeting new people and hanging out at the movie theater. And, you know, that was exciting. That was super fun. And that kind of stands out for me for Attack of Clones, just kind of having that experience of opening night again. But as far as the film delivering, I felt it delivered more than a Phantom Menace, but again, it's not one of my top 5. As far as Star Wars. So how about you, Aaron?
For me, I mean, I saw it when I was a kid, maybe 2004, I want to say. And for me, it was just like, it felt like the prequels were finally starting with this movie. And it was just filled with different set pieces and really just like captured my imagination with that, where it's like all these different locations and the clones were really cool, you kind of knew they were going to become the stormtroopers eventually, but you weren't sure how. And there's lots of conflict and battles in the movie, and just it's flashy and cool and everything, but it's really, when I'm older and I have a better appreciation for what's really required for as far as good storytelling, it's like when you go back and you're like, I kind of get why it held my attention as a kid, but nowadays it's like, it's got to bring more to the table in order to keep me really interested. So, sorry, younger Aaron, there's better things out there.
So, well said. Well said.
With that, let's move on to Cantina Chat. All right, Todd. Anything going on with you lately?
Well, you know, lot of we're right in prime time of all these on Facebook. I'm getting all these memories of Star Wars movie releases. I'm like, I just miss I wish Solo was coming out right now, around Christmas. So
we're in a drought.
It's a drought. It's a drought. So I'm seeing all these Facebook posts of memories. I'm like, oh man, yeah, that was so much fun. And don't have that yet, but rewatched Attack of Clones just to kind of catch up and make sure I knew what I was talking about. But not too much other geeky stuff going on right now. But definitely getting ready for Christmas and enjoying that time. Been watching. Trent has begged me to watch Jurassic Park, so we started doing that, and it's a lot of fun. So I've been doing that with him. He loves dinosaurs, and I'm just like, okay, for scary parts, you got to cover your eyes, because there are some intense parts. But just kind of showing him that. So
right,
fun. How about you, man? You're done with school, right?
Yes, I've made.
Hooray!
I've made the trench run, and that star's blown up, and we're all woo and going home. So
awesome.
We had our last week. We had our final session for the Star Wars RPG.
Oh man,
it got emotional because the DM for it, he's graduating. He's done after this semester. So
okay.
We were wrapping up the story, and very long story short, the main thrust of our campaign was that our characters were assisting Leia after the events of Empire Strikes Back. Except in this alternate universe, Luke actually gives into the dark side and joins Vader. And so it started off with us going over to Jabba's palace and rescuing Han. And only to learn that Han had been blinded by Luke. And then we had to go off on this merry adventure to different times and places. I had the fan who called in, Josh. He played this K2SO-esque droid companion to my character, who was kind of a rougher around the edges Han Solo, and had a couple of other characters in there too. And eventually we went to I'm gonna mispronounce this, but Dromedakos. It's like this very ancient Sith planet where
nice.
Where Darth Vader, Luke, and a resurrected Palpatine were meeting to conduct this this ancient Sith what's the word for it? Ceremony, I guess, is the closest thing.
Okay.
Ritual, that's the word. And in order to effectively just like flip over the scales of the Force and take over the universe. So we had to stop them.
Oh boy,
and,
of course.
We ended up fighting them we ended up fighting them, and good old Buster, my dear droid companion, he ended up tackling Palpatine. Palpatine shocked him, and unbeknownst to everyone else, Buster had a reactor core in him that got set off by the Force lightning, just blew him up. So Palpatine was no more. And my character was able to shoot down Luke, but not without losing a hand, as is Star Wars tradition.
Yeah, so, you got to lose a hand.
Yeah, and then we took out Darth Vader as well. So we restored peace to the galaxy.
Peace, peace is back. Peace,
peace. But not without some losing some friends along the way. So
and limbs. You got to lose limbs.
Yeah. So
and we didn't mention this, but attack of clones. Zam, the bounty hunter that Anakin and Obi-Wan, she lost the arm in the bar.
Yep.
And
Anakin
Obi-Wan
lost
gets
a hand.
nicked. Yeah. Obi-Wan gets nicked. He does not lose any limbs, but
he's lucky.
Anakin got his hand chopped off.
Yep.
So
that's
it's not Star Wars unless you lose limbs,
It's not. So that's Cantina Chat.
Congratulations on graduating, man. That's amazing.
Well, I'm not graduating. He is.
Well, you pass classes, I guess.
Yeah. We're live to fight another day.
Right.
So
exactly.
Speaking of rousing successes, Todd, let's go rooting through the garbage of Twitter and see what we can pull up.
Get in there, you big polio! I don't care what you smell! Get in there and don't worry about it!
All right, so we had 2 polls this week on our Twitter page. First one, how many posters were designed / released for the original Star Wars A New Hope movie? We had 4 choices to choose from. 2, 3, 4, or 5 plus. 3 had 0 votes. It was also incorrect. 2 and 4 got an even split at 25%. They were also wrong. The correct answer is 5 plus with 50% of the vote. I'm sure Todd has the exact number for however many posters were made, but it is indeed greater than 5. Then our second Twitter poll basically said, 1 year later, what are your thoughts about The Last Jedi? So our options were love it still, hate it more, and I'm going to wait till episode 9. Coming in last place was which got 0 votes. Third place, I'm going to wait till episode 9 to wait and see. That got 16% of our votes. Number 2, hate it more with 37% of the vote. And finally, first place, 47% of the vote, love it still. So looks like even a year later, it is quite decisive. It's almost an even split between people who love it still and people who hate it more. And looks like all the undecideds are waiting to see how episode 9 plays out in order to see what they think about The Last Jedi and the impact that it has. On to news of the week.
And now, the Star Wars news of the week.
So our first item here, this comes from Screen Rant and Twitter, kind of. Rian Johnson thanks Star Wars fans and critics on The Last Jedi's anniversary. So, celebrating the anniversary of The Last Jedi's release, Rian Johnson extended a message of gratitude to Star Wars fans. He was the writer and director, we know that. So despite receiving positive reviews from critics and many fans, the film also had a significant amount of backlash from others. So frustrations from certain fans occasionally spilled over into outright vitriol aimed at both Johnson and the film's stars. As you may recall, Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico, she got the brunt of said aggression and ultimately just cut ties with social media as a result. So criticism largely evolved around episode 8's depiction of Luke Skywalker. So despite Johnson stating that the characterization remained consistent with the original trilogy and concept art, revealing that this version of Luke remained true to plans put in place even before The Force Awakens, some fans remain displeased. Even now, a year later, the debate rages on, with The Last Jedi considered equally the best and worst of the franchise. Johnson, he was also responsible for Looper, directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, and has since moved back to his own original projects. His next film, Knives Out, is currently in production. But here's what he had to say on Twitter about The Last Jedi. So, Johnson took some time out to express his gratitude to fans of Star Wars for the experiences and interactions of the past year. The director focused equally on both sides of the reactionary spectrum. He thanked both the supportive fans and the argumentative fans alike. He has said that getting to hear from and meet his fans has been the experience of a lifetime. Here's the full tweet at Rian Johnson. Want to thank all the amazing, passionate, thoughtful, kind, creative, talented, supportive, argumentative, opinionated, respectful, open-hearted, inspiring, amazing Star Wars fans for the past year. Getting to hear from and meet so many of you has been the experience of a lifetime. Johnson only refers to the last year, but his time within the galaxy originally created by George Lucas extends far beyond that with pre-production. So, news that he would work on the film first broke in 2014, and with work towards the installment already in motion, Johnson would spend the next 3 years of his life building towards the release. Though he's now focused on another project, his work in the Star Wars universe is set to continue with a separate trilogy of films. Moving on to our second news item. This comes from Cinema Blend. Star Wars Battlefront II reveals 2019 plans. So, even though Electronic Arts and DICE's biggest game launch of the fall season is Battlefield 5, for some reason, both companies have been putting a lot of time and effort into talking about the 2017 release of Star Wars Battlefront 2. So, we have a more detailed layout of what people can expect for 2019 as far as updates go. Over on the official EA website for Battlefront 2, there's a post on what DICE is working on right now and what the team is planning for release. They're going to start things off with the release of Count Dooku and Anakin Skywalker, both of whom are following up on the release of General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, looks like it's going to be their Attack of the Clone era releases, because we already have Anakin Skywalker. Additionally, DICE will be adding in more clone trooper variations and trooper types, giving gamers more variety in how they play and who they play. And it includes additional appearances of clone troopers from the war. We already know that. There's also going to be a brand new game mode being added that introduces the use of command posts and capital ship takedowns. Almost like they're borrowing it from another game called Battlefront 2. Now, this sounds similar to the original Space Battles mode from Battlefront 2. In that the players would have to hop into a spacecraft, dogfight across a star field to another capital ship, and either destroy certain components on the ship or fly inside and begin to battle inside the capital ship to destroy certain control systems. Took a lot of teamwork and skill, blah, blah, blah. Instead, DICE had to focus a lot of its attention for many months on completely overhauling the game's monetization system after the team had removed the loot boxes following outrage from parents who petitioned Disney to have EA remove the premium loot boxes from the game. But new character skins and game modes aren't the only thing coming to Star Wars Battlefront 2. They are also they reference the Phantom Menace quote, "You can't stop the change any more that you can stop the suns from setting," which is the philosophy that DICE is utilizing for designing content for the multiplayer shooter. So basically, they're constantly looking for new ways to enhance the game and add new ways to play the game. We don't actually know what the new content will be like beyond the first quarter of 2019, but hopefully they have some nice surprises in store for gamers. So Todd, that's a lot. That's a lot coming to Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, for a somewhat significantly old game, they're still pushing content, and they're giving some prequel love. So we just got Obi-Wan, and now Count Dooku's on the way, and Anakin Skywalker, and from a Clone Wars perspective, is coming. Yep. So I think that's very interesting. Yeah, I think they did Grievous, the Obi-Wan, and now doing Dooku and Anakin. So the Geonosis level is fantastic. I played a couple times and it's a lot of fun. But very interesting that they're still pushing this through, because it's the only Star Wars game out there. So
pretty much, beggars can't be choosers.
Right. Exactly.
What have we got for our final news item?
Yeah, sure. So this is coming from The Verge, and the Star Wars Archives is a monster behind-the-scene book, weighing in at a whopping 13 pounds. Ooh, that's right, folks.
That's a textbook.
It's, we do push Audible, and that we love Audible, but this book,
you Audible weighs nothing.
Yeah, weighs nothing. It's just your phone, But yeah, this book weighs 13 pounds. So, again, I love books, and this is I'm like I might need to pick up this whopping 13 pounder. But really, what it is, it's a extensive making of, behind the scene reference guide, volumes of concept art, official biographies, narrative nonfiction, and more than a full of every imaginable nugget of information about how George Lucas created his universe. Mm-hmm. So it's a massive tome from the art book publisher Taschen, and you got to pick it up. So it's written by film historian Paul Duncan, and like I said, it's an exhaustive collection of behind-the-scene interviews, pictures, concept art, script pages that charts the course of production for the first 3 films. And again, sometimes the messy development process that generated them. So, it sounds like it's just the be-all, the cat's meow, everything you need to know. So the subtitle is Episode 4 to Episode 6, 1977 through 1983. And it's got a lot of stuff because it weighs 13 pounds. So
that's all well and good, Todd. But what do I have to shell out for this thing?
Oh man, I don't. It's going to cost you a couple Kessa runs. No. A couple of Republic credits, roughly $200 to be precise. Is the damage to the old bank account. Checkbook,
So what you're saying is, if you're replete with cash and you've waited too long to get Christmas gifts, send us an email at mailbox@wstrmedia.com.
Right. We could do an extensive podcast about the book, But yeah, it's $200, 13 pounds. I don't know what the price for each page, but it looks. If you see it, if you go to Amazon or something, it's huge. It's a huge book. So there you go. That's the news item of the week. All right, should I put a pretty bow on this one, Aaron?
Wrap it up and roll it down the stairs.
Wrap it up. Okay, so thanks again for listening to another episode of WSTR Galactic Public Access. You can check us out on the social media at WSTR Media, all one word, all lowercase. We want to hear from you. So comment, tweet, rate us on iTunes. Give us a 2-star review. Give us a 5-star review. We don't care. We want to hear from you. But yeah, you can email us at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. We have fixed all the transponders, domains, whatever. Everything is, all the wires across, and it's working. You can leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. Leave us a voicemail, just like we did this at the beginning of the episode, and we could play it on an upcoming podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Again, you can check out our back catalog of episodes at our new web address, podcast.wstrmedia.com. That's podcast.wstrmedia.com. We got merch. So, hey, if you didn't get your big 13-pound book, your Star Wars archives, and you want to, get yourself some merch, we got merch at store.wstrmedia.com. Yeah, that's all the ways you can get a hold of us. Next week, episode 103, we are going to be interviewing Mark O'Connell, and he wrote a book called Watching Skies, Star Wars, Spielberg, and Us. And should be an interesting conversation. And he's all the way from over the pond. He's over there. He's over there. So, yeah, we're going to be talking to him. Yeah, so there you have it. So, Aaron, there's only one way to end this.
There is only one way to end this. Now this.
And this is
podcasting. Another one in the bag.
Yeah.